my first question is, what inspired how to break a world record and survive grade five?
Yes, it's a mouthful. I don't blame you if you get it wrong. Um, so I've always loved the Guinness Book of Records. And yeah, as a child, I remember just poring over it and staring at all the records, the long fingernails and the strongest people. And I noticed that children today still seem to love it. It's still quite
Yeah.
popular.
It's the
Um,
main book they borrow in the library as well. Like they
yes,
don't, they're just fascinated with all the
yeah, there's something about it. And yeah, so that intrigued me that it had this quality that would still make it really popular. Um, so that and I became really intrigued why someone would break a record because there's no financial incentive that like you literally get a certificate. So, and I'm not talking about like fastest person on earth or anything like that. I'm talking more about why do you try and break a record for most post-it notes on a face, for example, or most t-shirts worn. So I started to think about that motivation, why someone would do that. Is it just, and I thought maybe it's just to be the best in the world at something. And at the same time, I was also thinking about kids and how there is that pressure of knowing what their thing is and being good at something. And so those two things combined into the character of Sam, who's my main character, who tries to break a world record to prove that he's good at something, basically.
How did you come up with Sam as your main character? It was that fascination with the records, but how did you actually
Mm.
decide it was going to be Sam that you're going to base the story around?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think just I he came to me because he's a kind kid, he's thoughtful, um, but he didn't feel like he was good at anything. So I came up with him as someone who just is a good person, has all these amazing qualities, but isn't obviously good at sport or art. And so I thought he has to be the main character because um yeah, we need to see the world through his eyes and to want um him to ultimately realize that he is great at a lot of things.
Yeah, you've got always got those kids who don't fit into the sort of sporty
Yeah,
kid or arty kid, so it's always really
exactly.
good to have books.
Yeah. That's right. And I hope kids can maybe recognize themselves in Sam maybe and see, I don't want to spoil anything, but yeah, see that he has all these good things that are not really obvious.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What's your process for writing your books? Is it same across the for each book, or do you change it slightly?
Yeah, well, some things are the same, in the sense that I guess I'm not a plotter, I'm not a fly by the seat of my pants. I'm somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
So a bit of a plantser. For my first novel, I had a really clear sense of the opening chapter, the opening scene. But for this one, I didn't really have that. I had more of a clear sense of the climactic moment. And so then to me, it was trying to work out how to get there.
Yeah.
So yeah, just sort of going backwards. So so yeah, so my process was I knew where I wanted to get, and it was just a matter of getting there. And I just like everyone, very busy, just a little bit each day. Um, when you can.
Always trying to find the time to write
Oh,
and
that's it.
sometimes yourself.
That's it. Totally in the cracks, always.
What drew you to writing in the first place? Did you always
Yeah.
want to be a writer?
No, I always love books and I always love reading. But I followed I guess, a fairly conservative path and I did law and I did what I just thought I should do, I guess. And then it's not a very original story, but after having my own children, I was reading so many of these wonderful children's books and I was reminded how much I love them. And I just thought I'd have a go at doing it myself. And yeah, gradually became more and more serious about that.
But I think everyone sort of thinks about writing their own books as well as like then
Yeah.
actually pushing yourself to actually sit down and have a
Yeah.
go.
That's the next thing, isn't it? That's the big thing of sitting down and actually having a go because you can have ideas and you can have dreams, but it's that first step of sitting down to do it. And you realize, oh, they make it look so easy.
The hardest step.
Yeah.
What's your approach to character building? How do you go about building your character?
Yeah, I don't write, character profiles or anything beforehand. To me, it sort of emerges, the characters emerge from the writing. So they reveal themselves to me as I write the manuscript. But having said that, I mean, I do think about them beforehand, and I'm thinking about them even when I'm not writing. But yeah, their characters tend to come out of the writing. Sometimes that means, they're having conversations with each other that have to be deleted. They don't assist the story. They don't, get anywhere other than me getting to know them. So it does involve, cutting a lot of scenes. But for me, the best way to build the character is in the manuscript.
I think people get lost with having to do the character sheets before they
Yeah,
as
yeah,
well, and that sort of stops people from writing as well.
I agree with that. And they're daunting. They're like, oh, I don't know all their fears or, what they
Mm.
had for breakfast yet. I don't, yeah, it can actually get in the way a little bit. I mean, for some people that works, but I agree. Like sometimes you just need to start writing the manuscript, I think.
First start, and then once it's done, you can then go back and help yourself.
Yeah, that's it. Because that's the thing. You can get it all down, and then you're going to go over it so many times that you get to know them, as characters, and you can change them, and yeah, so you don't have to get it right the first time.
Did you have a favorite moment or scene in the book to write?
My favorite scene is the climactic moment that I was talking about. That I won't give a yeah, I won't spoil it, but it involves Sam trying to break the record for the biggest ice cream. And yeah, so I did have to practice that one myself to know how he would feel and how heavy it would um, feel in his hand, that type of thing. That was essential research. So that is my favorite scene because he then is faced with a very difficult decision. And yeah, it was just yeah, it was fun to write.
I think important research as well to try and do that ice cream
Very, very
enjoyable.
important. And I didn't, in all my research, I didn't come close to breaking a world record, unfortunately. So it is very, very difficult to get a world record. I'm yeah, astounded by people.
You have to be very selective to be
Yes, yeah.
record.
I think the trick is to find one that is really obscure that no one's ever attempted. That's why I think there's so many really weird ones that you think, why would you do that? But yeah, don't try and be the fastest person on earth. You're never
No,
going to one.
never going to beat that one. Which of your characters do you relate to the most and why?
Well, there's a fairly stressed out mum character, which I would say would be the most obvious sort of character that I relate to. But um, if I'm completely honest, I would say it's Sam in a way, in the sense that I have had that feeling as a kid and even now of wanting to be good at something, wanting to be recognized for something. I think it's just it's human nature really of wanting that. And so yeah, I related to that feeling that he had and I yeah, related to him in that way.
I think a lot of us will relate to Sam as well. So we all have
Yeah.
a kid and that wanting to be recognized as well.
Yeah, that's it. And that's it. And even like proving to yourself, like, oh, I'm good at something, that feeling of yeah, I think it's a universal thing.
Definitely. How has writing and publishing books changed the way you see yourself?
That's such a good question.
Mhm.
Yeah, that I really have to think about that one. Yeah. I think that sorry, we don't have all
That's
day.
all right.
Um, I think you think when I write a book and when I get published, I won't have any self-doubt or that type of thing. And that's not true in the sense that I still have the self-doubt. You're still striving, like the goalposts change in many ways as to what you want. So I don't think too much changed after writing or publishing, other than the fact that I now call myself a writer. I think it took me a really long time. And I should have been calling myself a writer even when I wasn't published, but for some reason saying that out loud was hard for me. So, but yeah, that was one big thing.
You've got actual people have your books in their hands actually read
Yeah.
enjoying
Yeah.
it as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. But I think if you're writing a manuscript, you're a writer. But then there's something I don't know, quite exposing or I don't know why, about saying I'm actually writing a book to people, even if it's just a neighbor or whatever. It's yeah, it was hard for me to do. But now I just say it.
Are there any books or authors that inspired you in your writing or to actually give it writing a go?
Yeah. Well, when I think about it, as a child, I loved the Babysitters Club. I just, was obsessed. And it was really helpful to me to learn, like I'm not saying they're great literature, but it was helpful for me to learn how to make the importance of making your reader care about your characters, because I really cared about all the members of the Babysitters Club. So I think that definitely had an effect on me. And now yeah, I also read a lot of Judy Blume, a lot of Morris Gleitzman. Now I read, all the wonderful authors that we have. Some of some of my favorites are Deborah Bella and R.A. Spratt, Julia Donaldson, Lauren Childs. I know there are some writers who don't like to read for the age group that they're writing for, but I actually do, because I get really inspired by good writing, and I think, oh, how did you make me feel that way, and how did you do that to me? So yeah, I do try and read a lot in middle grade, and picture books, junior fiction, YA, all of it, because I love it when you read a good book and you go, oh, I hate you, but yeah, how did you do
I
that?
love you. You
Yeah,
got
I
me.
hate you, but I love you.
I'm the same. I love reading all types of books, no
You-
matter what the genre. So
yeah,
age group, but
yeah,
just the joy of reading and sort of like, yeah, I understand how you got me.
yeah, yeah. That's right. That's right. Do you have a favorite sort of writer or kind of
My
her?
favorite, I really love Isabel Carmody's
Oh,
books. Yeah.
yeah, she's incredible.
And
Yeah,
there's been some other ones like James Foley with his picture books as well, and
she's
Kate
so funny.
Boswell.
Yeah,
There's just
yeah. That
yeah, they're
absolutely
really
good.
good.
Yeah. There's just so many, isn't there? Like it's really hard to
It's like what one because it changes as well. So I'm like, which
that's
one's
the thing,
come
it
to my
does.
mind today?
Yeah, it does change. That's what's really hard to pick. But yeah, definitely it's I love yeah, I just love reading. So yeah, it's not a chore at all.
No. What advice would you give to a writer working on their first book?
Yeah, I've been given a lot of helpful advice over the years, like doing a writing course and joining critique groups and getting out there and going to book launches and events where you can meet other people. But I think the most helpful piece of advice I got was just to sit down and write, because you can do a lot of, talking about writing or going to events or doing courses, but ultimately you have to do the work. You have to sit down and do, one word after the other. And I would say, don't worry if it's bad. Don't, if you think it's terrible, that doesn't matter, because as we talked about before, you will edit, you will change it, just get it down. And yeah, and go from there.
You actually need to have something written to edit.
Yeah, that's right. And it's so, you can't edit a blank page. So you just got to have something there to work with.
Yeah. What's your favorite writing snack or drink if you have one?
Oh, yeah. So it's an English breakfast tea. This is also not very original or exciting, but English breakfast tea and Vegemite on toast would be my go-to. Yeah.
Tea's always a good thing, no matter what the weather.
I just drink so much of it. It's just, yeah, I love it. But it helps. It's essential to the writing process.
I don't know. Do you play music while you write?
Oh no, I don't. I don't understand how people can. You just or even write in cafes, and I don't understand how people can write with, with noise. I'd like to be one of those authors that do that, like went to the cafe and, listen to music, but I'm not. I'm just boring, sitting there with my tea and my toast in silence.
Fair. There's been a few authors that they need complete silence as
Oh,
well.
really? So I'm not alone. I feel so
Right.
boring when I say it and I can't, yeah.
Or it's gone along the lines of like instrumentals, not so much
Oh,
songs with
not
lyrics. And I'm like,
yes.
I when I
Yeah.
think of music, I go lyrics, and I'm like, I would just be singing.
Yeah,
Not
I'll just be typing out whatever I'm hearing. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. We're all different, aren't we?
yeah. I when I'm reading, I like background noise, so that's how I do my reading.
Oh. Oh, so you read with background noise. You can do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. It'll be like a TV show or something that I've watched before, and then I'll just read during
Really?
during
But
it.
don't
Yeah.
you hear those words as well when you're no?
I tune most of it out and just focus on
Okay.
reading, but it's there because I don't like the silence.
Yeah, okay. Oh gosh, it's so interesting. Yeah, yeah.
And my final question is, who has been the biggest supporter of your writing?
Yeah, this is another such a good question that's made me think. Yeah, I would say well, you would know, to write anything, you need other people sort of picking up the slack elsewhere. So my parents have been great with that and my partner. There are times when you're on deadline and yeah, you can't pick up the kids or you can't get, bread made and I mean dinner made, picking up bread, that type of thing. So yeah, my parents have been great and my partner, I would say. But it's such a good question because I really, yeah, it just makes you think like,
Hmm.
because for you to do what you do, there are other people that have to be doing other things, and that is support in a sense. That's supporting you and your writing, and they know how much it means to me. Because otherwise, it's can seem quite self-indulgent to lock yourself away in silence, as I do, and write about imaginary people. But they know what it gives me, what it brings to my life, and so yeah, they're a great support.
It's always really good when your family and part
Yeah,
so supportive as well. It's like, yep, I just need some time now.
that's
Thank
it. That's it. And I just come back a much nicer person after I've written. So,
you.
it's win-win for everyone.